Hey guys, first regardsman here. I'll be talking about a Xenophase blade build for the Assault class in Space Marine 2 patch 12. Now, the Xenophase blade actually got a buff this patch. A lot of people aren't aware of that, but beyond the base balance buff we got, where they all had like a 15% base damage increase, both the Heroic Chainsword and the Heroic Power Sword here, they did get a buff as well, so their damage is actually better than ever. Now, for the Heroic Perk effect, we do have Ancient Technology. Power Rake waves are wider and deal 20% more damage. When you take that buff into account on top of things like Overcharge for a 25% multiplicative melee damage buff to your Power Rakes, you will like two-shot flying enlightened Zangors and stuff like that. Really useful option, and a huge portion of this perk here is that not only are your power rake waves wider, but they also have a vertical increase, which basically makes it so you can hit Zoanthropes and Neurothropes out of the sky and Zangors far more easily. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take the perk Armored Strength first, moving here into the perk Master of Offense. After you switch your sword combat style, you will deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. The cooldown is 10 seconds. Now, usually on the power sword, you will be swapping into a lunging attack anyways, which will immediately bring you into a power rake, and you can also switch your sword combat style in the middle of a lunge if you hold down your button while you are dodging, which is a really useful option to trigger this and get a free power rake off for that 20% buff. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength into Perpetual Strength again. Then I pick up the perk Tranquility for no knockback and Power Whirl, and then we pick up the perk Melee Onslaught for a 10% melee damage buff. Then we pick up Hard Target into the perk here Cutting Edge. Power Rake deals 50% more melee damage. When you're using any power sword, you pretty much always pick this up because a 50% buff to your heaviest hitting attack is just too good to pass up in my opinion. They really need to like look at this perk tree at some point, because for now, the perk up here, Reeling Blow, is just so much worse that you pretty much just like never want to take it. Next perk here is Extremis Slayer, up here into the perk Majora Slayer. Then I go up here to Terminus Slayer, and then you can either pick the perk Speed Restoration or Power Restoration, or even the perk here Minora Slayer. This is all up to you. The big thing about these two perks is just double up at your CHP recovery in your respective stance, and you know which one you prefer. That's really up to you. I prefer the power stance here, mainly because when you're wanting like your HP to come back from CHP, it's usually against Minoras and stuff like that for melee attacks, and power style is predominantly what you're using against them. That's pretty much all there is for the power sword here. And for the secondary selection, I do take the Relic Tier Ammo Reserve Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly so I can deal Zoanthropes and Neurothropes more easily. If you are fighting Chaos Spawn or on Chaos in general, I would take a Plasma Pistol on the Rate of Fire version or the Inferno Pistol. I would set those up this way respectively, but for this weapon, we're going to be going down the bottom tree with Divine Might, into the perk here Perpetual Penetration, Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine, and the perk here Death Strike. After killing a Majoris or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This will trigger off of a melee execute, not just a melee kill, so it's actually pretty easy to pull off, and usually if you swap off your gun or don't have your gun equipped, you will lose this effect entirely, but on the Assault class, you don't have a primary, so you don't have to worry about that at all. Next perk here is Great Might, into the perk here Strong Start. Then I pick up the perk Able Damage. After using a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. Every single assault build ever uses the class ability for your jump pack all the time. You'll pretty much have this up 24/7 in combat, so really good synergy there. Final perks here are Home Precision into the perk here Gunstrike Reload, and of course Tactical Precision, because headshots are really all that matters on any bolt weapon in the entire game currently. Kind of sucks this way it is, but I would definitely pick this perk up because a 20% buff for losing some body shot damage is just super worth it, and that's pretty much all there is for the secondary here. This brings us to the Assault's perk tree. So first up we have the perk here Overcharge. Damage from held and charged melee attacks increases by 25%. If you're using a Xenophase blade, you are already going all in on the power rakes, and this will just give you a 25% multiplicative melee damage buff to those, so definitely grab this, though I do want to mention that the perk down here Armor Reinforcement is a much safer option. That is up to you. I would kind of skip over Winged Fury because your lunging attacks on the power sword aren't like super epic anyways, so Overcharge and Armor Reinforcement are the best bet. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charged by 1. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This is the best perk in this column, in my opinion, in terms of like damage potential, because otherwise you don't have things like a Melt-A-Bomb Horde Clear. You know, Melt-A-Bombs on their own, crack grenades, shock nades, and stuff like that, they do tend to overperform in Space Marine 2, but I will say that Defense Mechanism is a safer perk overall, and Auxiliary Arsenal is still quite strong. Next perk here is Knowledge of the Enemy. Melee damage increases by 15% against Majoris or Extremis level enemies. This is just a nice flat damage increase. Now you could pick up the perk down here, Active Attrition, instead, because we are a Wings of Flame build, and getting a 25% melee damage debuff on the enemies you hit is a pretty strong option as well. Like, it's actually just a straight up 25% damage debuff. So if you want to pick up this one, you definitely can, and Knowledge Enemy is still a good option. Next perk here is Strategic Strikes. All team members deal 20% more melee damage against Extremis and Terminus level enemies. This is just the best perk in this tree, in my opinion, for melee damage builds, because it's just a 20% buff to enemies you want to kill the most. Next perk here is a God tier option with Furious Strikes. Hitting an enemy with an attack after a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charged by 1. The cooldown is 10 seconds. This basically functions as a free gap close, where all you have to do is just jump pack dash, use a jump pack strike, and you would just immediately get your jump pack back. But if you take this with the perk down here, Commitment, that gives you a free jump pack dash every time you perfect dodge with one, you can effectively go up a free jump pack, because all you have to do is just get the perfect dodge off this, get that jump pack back, and then trigger this perk as well, and you are effectively up one jump pack. As a super powerful option, but even on its own, Furious Strikes is like the best perk by far in this column, at least for like most modes in the game. Next perk here is Wings of Flame. A jump pack dash that damages enemies' launch trajectory and always works as a perfect dodge when dodging an attack. This perk does a ridiculous amount of damage. In fact, Wings of Flame can practically trivialize bosses like the Carnifex and Hellbrute at times even, mainly because you will put out 100 damage every single jump pack dash with this. And to put that in perspective, a Tyranid Warrior has like 300 HP, which is kind of ridiculous, because you can put this one out for free all the time, and you also just like ram somebody's face, trigger this perk, and also trigger Furious Strikes. So really good option overall. Also makes all of your perfect dodges way easier, which means triggering perks like Commitment is that much easier as well. Now for the next perk here, we do take Aerial Grace. After a perfect time dodge using a jump pack dash, you will deal 30% more damage for 10 seconds. This is just a nice damage buff for doing your jump pack dash anyways, so I will say if you want to pick up Diligence or the perk here, Pride and Duty, you can definitely do that as well. That is up to you. The final perk here is of course Commitment. Hopefully one day they turn this into an assault passive, but for now you pretty much always pick this up on any build, because any jump pack dash in this game at the moment will animation cancel anything you're doing, so definitely grab this one. Now, for the prestige perk options, the first one I took here is Unyielding Oath. When charging a ground pound, you become invulnerable to damage for 3 seconds. This will trigger the moment you hold down your ground pound slam, so keep that in mind. You can actually just let it go immediately and get the full invulnerability, the entire trajectory of your ground pound. That's a really strong option, especially versus Chaos, because enemies like Soul Can Terminators, they usually shoot you a bit while you are landing, and sometimes that can like kill you or just damage you, which is pretty annoying. Though alternatively, you could pick up the perk here, Duelist, instead. Next perk I take here is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. Moving here to the perk Scramble Targeting or Practice Aim. You can take either one of these if you want. Scramble Targeting is pretty good because a 20% range damage reduction does affect your armor, not just your HP, though a 15% buff to range damage is pretty nice. Next perk here is Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage and do not lose control from heavy hits and cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. This is like the best perk of this entire tree now. The amount of bonuses you get from this is kind of nuts. A 30% range damage reduction for just using your class ability that you use all the damn time is insane on its own, but it also kind of just power crept Adrenaline boost entirely, because a 15-second uptime and no knockback, that is kind of insane, so pretty much always pick this up. And that is all there is for this build, guys. The Xenophase Blade definitely feels better this patch. The damage buff is very noticeable, and hopefully this build guide helped you. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And if you want to watch me live to ask me questions about the game, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. It's the only proper way to get rid of these guys.
Select preferred method of execution: decapitation, desiccation, defenestration, dismemberment, disembowelment.
Vanguard's been your favorite lately. It needs better cosmetics. I mean, its cosmetics were pretty good, actually. Just Phobos.
And so does whomever tampered with it. Once I heard a servo cell performing songs.
Alright.
Just until now.
Is playing solo boss or true solo easier than playing with randoms in your opinion? I mean, definitely not. Randoms are, even the worst randoms, still do more than literally nothing. Even they just have a team perk. Be more right pauldrons, that we do. James, do you think for the prime 4 months? Yeah, it's actually quite the interesting thing here. Look at this. You know, it's funny, swapping from heavy over to assault, and you immediately realize, like, wait a second. That's actually his peak. If you take armor advance, is it still best to take Merciless Resolve for the melee damage boost? No.
But our orders stand. We are not intimidated by its revolting carnage.
Okay.
I was worried you had fallen victim to Metrian's mastery of malphonic disruptive frequencies, but now
I'm probably trying this out in strats after this.
sensation associated with relief cools my remaining skin. Be warned, Viridian. Metrian cannot hope to stand against you alone, so she will lie
Melted
and
just
struggle
like that.
in hope the Xenophase will devour you.
Results encountered.
She has enslaved the Astartes. I trust the facility is well stocked in my care. Requisitions, Milsa charges to eradicate the tunnels and halt the infestation.
Search high and low routes. We need melters.
This is a rather eventful portion here. Usually this one's pretty boring. I'll say the Xenophase blade, kind of underrated in this game. I mean, not only does it look cool, but also, so you can do this with the Xenophase blade. It changes the angle. So you can actually cut this guy out of the sky very easily. You can do that with the normal power sword, which is way easier on this version. Astartes 1 sequel? What else would you call it? Call it Space Marine 2 or something? That can't be right. Why are there so many Devourers this patch? You guys notice like the absolute gargantuan fucktilion amounts of Devourer spam in this patch? Quite disgusting, isn't it? Range spam has been actually nasty, yeah, it is. Like, usually, when people start complaining about, like, oh, there's a ton of range enemies in my game all the time, I'm like, whatever you say, guy. Because, like, people always cope about that kind of thing. This time, though, they're right. There are, like, a disproportionate amount. Avengers Assemble.
Inside the facility, you'll find Mitria cowering in her data enclave.
Gallia, old friend of mine. If you missed our binaric discourses, you could have sent communication. I observe you still pathetically cling to
STG Kelvin usual SMH for.
Remember, meat lacks efficiency, whereas metallic alloys stave off corrosion and degradation for far longer.
How far you
This is why next channel I make, I'm never covering games again.
drag you back into the light.
Alright, let's go with I'll just cover TV. Thanks for all your hard work with guides and insight into the game. You've been helping me improve a lot since I recommend your channel on the tube. I'm glad I could help, man. And welcome, welcome. SCG be the new purple drinker? No, I don't think I'm that, I think that guy and I have some fundamental differences, I'm gonna be honest. Like, would it probably make me a millionaire if all I did was complain about the quote-unquote woke shit in movies? Probably. Would I be able to live with myself after? Probably not. FCG report on the war on Armageddon. Yeah. Anything for the bag, I suppose? No. FTG would not do anything for the bag, I can assure you. I wouldn't be playing Space Marine 2 if I did. If I was after anything for the bag, I would be a straight up... First of all, I wouldn't be playing games. Put it that way. The reality is, the peak of YouTube is when you no longer actually play the game you're talking about. You just sit there and talk about the game. Anybody like watch like that's the quintessential crux of like Yang Ya's channel, right? When's the last time that guy actually played a single fucking video game he talked about? Pretty much never.
I expected to route Xenos to assault your locus.
I watched the FGG News Network. I watched. Yeah.
Within the sphere of consolidation.
No, there are levels to this, okay? The ultimate, like the most inhuman you can get is like anime balls deep. Do that, like them, or. Yang Ya's been too much of a hater lately. I haven't watched it. I'll be honest, I haven't watched Yang Ya's stuff in years. But I know that, I watched him during the Battlefront 2 fiasco. The peak of YouTubers react to a guy. Oh yeah, react slop. That's the next step. I mean, 40k is pretty good. Pretty cool niche of cool people, but it's definitely not that big. There's a reason we all know each other. Now, if you guys have not seen, Bricky, Froggy, and I, Bricky did post that on his channel. There's an edited little compilation of our funny times, if anybody's curious, on Bricky F2. Surprised to be sure, but a welcome one. Now, after this humble little murder session we have, I will have to actually finish my fucking Bulwark and the other one. Heavy. Bulwark and Heavy guide. I know, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's been 3 class guides I have not, then there's still 4 I have to make. But I guess which two are going to be last. I'll give you one guess. Actually, just guess which one's going to be last. Vanguard. How do you know, dude? How does this guy see the future? Osborne, I didn't know you partook in Warp Treachery. SCG entering the inner circle of 40k content creators. It was unexpected. But the support over the past year has been insane, to say the least.
Within the sphere of consolidation. I am out of the disruption field.
Alright, well, that's not gonna do shit against these guys. You know what will? This. Alright, this guy ever wants to come in.
Talk of this console, brothers.
Return to Metrian's containment unit. See, Metrian, the more you thrash, the deeper you set our folks.
Why can't it give me Hormagon swarms like this all the time? Ah yes, more range spam. Just what the doctor ordered. How about Sniper Caves actually look good? Sorry, you're gonna get Tech Marine nerf and you're gonna like it. Now, did any of you guys watch the Mobius Cypher collaboration we did? He put a lot of effort into that, and he is not a full-time content creator, so you should all tell him he did a good job. That was pure. That was all of his free time, or a ton of his free time went into that. Heavy, because he's got no build. Well, it's not a build guide, from a class guide. Heavy actually has a lot of mechanics, so. Ozzy, think for the tier 1. Very much, Ozzy. Wait, you can cancel the animation for inserting a thing? Is that a universal thing or only for the charge? Oh my god. I wish I was paying attention when you asked that. Maybe. The answer is maybe. For all your hard work. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love Mobius and watching his stuff for a while. Vivid View is great. Yeah, Mobius and I actually have a lot in common. We're both fans of the good old, the ancient days of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. And Maddie, thank you for the Prime. Jeopard, yeah, dude. Mass Effect at this point is like almost, it's such a dead franchise. And if you know Vol, you know Vol. You know what I'm saying? Like Mass Effect has suffered such a tragic fall off that it's hard to like properly articulate how bad it's gotten. Like if you don't know Mass Effect, I can't blame you. Probably pretty young. Like I don't think a younger generation would know too much about it. The kids, as they say. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Doesn't land on these guys. Power Sword's so peak. Love your vids. Keep up the good work. Thank you, dude. Armor boost. Like that. Alright. It's such a shame what happened to Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Well, BioWare is like a developer who's kind of vanished from Earth. And by vanished, I mean they had a cataclysmic fall off that they never really recovered from. Well, there's a lot of EA games in general, though.
I cannot land with that burrowing abomination lurking about. Deep scans have penetrated the atmospheric disturbances and Matriarch's meddling code. Trigon vulnerability data pushed to your displays.
The Imperium demands the Trigon's extermination. Target lock on its vulnerabilities.
Vortex Beast asks, we can do that.
The Xenos erupt from a new shaft. Ready melter ordnance. Jump back, refuel.
I have a feeling he's gonna.
Prepare to strike into them.
Oh, I have to do that, huh? Okay. They don't.
Trigon kill confirmed.
They're not peak, chat. Did we not like that? Are we not entertained? Is that not the Wings of Flame? That looked badass. It certainly did, didn't it? The Wings of Flame, dude. It's aesthetic and OP.